Today, we're staying in Japan's most iconic hotel, the Park Hyatt Tokyo. But in a country where there is no shortage of luxury hotels, what makes the Park Hyatt Tokyo stand above the rest? Well, for one thing, it was the first luxury Western hotel to ever be built in Japan. This was back in the 90s. And secondly, and the biggest reason for the notoriety, is that it was the backdrop for many scenes in Sofia Coppola's movie Lost in Translation starring Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. It's also one of the few places where you'll be able to try the rarest steak in the world, olive-fed Wagyu. And of course, at the end of the video, I'll talk about how much all this cost. The Park Hyatt Tokyo takes up the top 14 floors of the Shinjuku Park building. You'll head on up to the 41st floor, and when you get off of the elevators, you're immediately greeted by the Peak Lounge, well known for its glass atrium, floor-to-ceiling windows, bamboo forest centerpiece, and of course, on a clear day, you can even get a view of Mount Fuji from here. Almost immediately after stepping off the elevator, we're greeted by a staff member who guides us through the library and over to the reception desk area. The check-in area at the Park Hyatt Tokyo is truly unique compared to a lot of other hotels. It's set up more like an office space where you'll be seated at a desk one-on-one with someone while they capture all your details and get you all checked in. It's also unique because it's only accessible to guests of the hotel, which makes it feel like a more personal, intimate experience. It also felt a lot less chaotic, which I really appreciated. After finishing check-in, we're shown to our rooms, which is a good thing because there are a lot of twists and turns in the hallways and it's easy to get confused. The hallways are filled with lots of different art, some interesting, some a little bit strange, and for some reason there are no windows and they keep the lights really dim, so it's pretty much dark like this, like a cave, no matter what time of day you're walking through the hallways. Eventually we make it to our room, which is room 4326. Hi, we're in our room right now, and we are currently in the King Deluxe room with a view. We were originally just supposed to be in a King Deluxe room with no view, basically, but they very kindly upgraded us to a room with a view. Thankfully, unlike the hallways, our room has plenty of windows and lights, so we can actually see in here. We're staying in a King Deluxe room, which is about 60 square meters or about 645 square feet. Right across from the entryway, we have the mini bar area, which sits on top of what looks like a wardrobe area with a mirror. It has everything though. Coffee machine, tea kettle, and down below, hidden in the cupboard, is a mini fridge. The king-size bed sits in the center of the room across from the TV. We have the desk as well as some additional seating. Now let's check out the bathroom through this entryway. Immediately to the left of the entrance, we have a full-size bathtub that also has some pretty great views of the city. I definitely wouldn't mind soaking in here for a little while. There's also a shower though, if you're the type of person that doesn't really like sitting in their own filth. Things here are definitely dated, but I will say that the Park Hyatt has definitely done a really good job of maintaining everything. There's no rainfall shower head in this shower, which is a bit of a bummer, but they do have Le Labo bath products in my favorite scent, Centel 33, so I'll give them a couple bonuses for that. There's also a miniature TV here, which I can only imagine was probably considered the cutting edge of technology back in the 90s. And even though there's only one sink in this bathroom, they are fully stocked again with my favorite Santel from Le Labo, as well as a Dyson hairdryer, and plenty of other bath amenities that you might need. Across from the sink, we of course have the dedicated toilet room in true Japanese style with a bidet. And I have to say, the thing with this little toilet room is that it almost feels like an office. I felt like I was in a waiting room. And through the second bathroom entrance, we do have a walk-in closet. Walk-in closet is definitely a decent size, way more than what I need, and definitely way more closet space than what I have at home. Alright, so we are just about to head out to dinner, and we will be eating in the hotel at the New York Grill, and then afterwards we'll be going to the New York Bar. Now, normally I would never eat at a place called New York Grill here in Japan because I'd rather just, go out and eat some local food outside the hotel. But I am going to make an exception this time because the New York Grill and the New York Bar are, of course, legendary in Tokyo for having some of the most incredible views of the city. And two, the New York Grill actually serves what is the rarest steak in the world, olive-fed Wagyu. And even within Japan, it is very, very difficult to find olive-fed Wagyu. The New York Girl restaurant is located on the 52nd floor of the Park Hyatt Tokyo. Along with some incredible views of the city, you'll also have views of an open-style kitchen where you can see the chefs creating their magic. And as we're escorted to our table, we're really, really lucky because we snag a seat right next to the windows with the most incredible views of Tokyo. Now, back in the 90s, the New York Grill and the bar were considered groundbreaking because it was pretty rare to have a restaurant and bar take up an entire floor of a hotel building, especially with views like this, which are still considered to be some of the best in the city. It's time for dinner now though, and we start off with a couple of appetizers. We go for the crab cakes as well as a Caesar salad, mostly so we could delude ourselves into thinking that we're a little bit healthy. But now it's time for the star of the show and the sole reason why we came here, the rarest steak in the world, the olive-fed Wagyu. And as for the verdict,
thoughts?
freaking melts. Like literally like melts. It's like you could taste the marbling. We also tried out the New Zealand rack of lamb, and as for how that tasted,
Just okay.
that olive-fed Wagyu was so good that it makes the lamb taste extremely dry and tasteless. Like, you eat the lamb and you're like, hey, this is pretty good, but then you have the olive-fed Wagyu and you're like, nah. I went back to the lamb after eating the olive-fed Wagyu and it was just like, no, it was almost like it was gross. Like, that's how good the olive-fed Wagyu was. All right, olive-fed Wagyu, obviously amazing, but now we are gonna move on over to the New York Bar. The New York Bar is just on the other side of the 52nd floor, and there's normally a 2,750 yen cover charge per person, but since we're guests at the hotel, the cover fee is waived for us. The New York Bar by far still maintains its status as the most famous bar in all of Japan. Obviously, being featured in Lost in Translation helped a lot with that, but after 30 plus years since that movie was released, people still line up to come here for a lot of really good reasons. One, the cocktails are great, although pretty pricey. And of course, the views are unlike any other in Tokyo. Still some of the best views that you will find in the city. They also have live music here every evening, and it's definitely something that you should experience at least once when coming to Tokyo. There's just a certain magic about this place that you'll only understand if you come and visit it. But it also means that Park Hyatt Tokyo is going to have to tread very carefully with this spot when they undergo their year-long renovations in the remainder of 2024. They better not mess it up. Good morning. So we are just going to go check out the pool. We tried to check it out yesterday, but there was an aerobic fitness class happening. So hopefully we go first thing in the morning and there will be a ton of people there. And then afterwards we will check out the breakfast at Girandole Restaurant. Can I go see the pool?
Swimming pool?
Yeah.
Okay. May I confirm your room number, please?
4326.
4326. So, Miss Chen?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks.
this way.
The pool is located on the 47th floor and is one of the hotel's most iconic spots thanks to Scarlett's swim scene here. Like a lot of places in this hotel, the views here are absolutely breathtaking. What's also interesting is that the architecture here was designed in such a way that if there is an earthquake, which is definitely a distinct possibility in Japan, that the water won't be displaced. Leave it to Japan to design a place that is not only beautiful, but also takes into account safety precautions. It's now time for breakfast at Girandole Restaurant, which is located at the lobby level on the 41st floor. The breakfast buffet here, like at most Japanese hotels, has a really good mix of both international as well as Asian options. You also have the option of ordering a traditional Japanese breakfast, which is always the superior choice in my opinion when you're in Japan. There is a limited number of Japanese breakfast sets available though, and you do have to pre-order beforehand, so make sure you get your order in ASAP. Trust me when I say that this is one Japanese breakfast set that you do not want to miss out on. Everything here is definitely expertly made and 5-star all the way. The pastry chef even comes by with a tray of fresh hot madeleines straight out of the oven, and let me tell you, these madeleines are absolutely divine. They were so good, I actually chased the chef down to grab a second one afterwards, which is pretty embarrassing for myself, but these were so good, it was worth being an embarrassment for. Alright, so we're just about to check out right now, and I am so glad that I got to stay here before they close for renovations in 2024, and they won't be reopening again until 2025. One of the biggest criticisms that this hotel faces is that it's dated, and it was built in the 90s, so of course it was dated. And even though you can tell that the furniture and decor is from the 90s, I will give them credit that everything is maintained in excellent condition. The other thing I will say about this hotel is that I do think it edges out a lot of the other luxury hotels in Tokyo in that the service here is absolutely impeccable. The staff here seem to be able to anticipate what you need before you even need it. And even though this hotel is getting the much needed overhaul that it needs, I will say that I do feel like this renovation is bittersweet. Hopefully they'll still be able to honor the original architecture and design while bringing it up to modern standards. All right, and just the final and last thing that we need to talk about, as always, is cost. So originally I booked the King Deluxe room, and the King Deluxe room, from what I saw online, would typically go for around 100,000 yen, maybe more, depending on when you're staying. I did, however, use my Hyatt points to book the room, so I redeemed 29,000 Hyatt points, so I didn't have to pay anything, which is always really nice. I did get upgraded to the King Deluxe room with a view, so normally the room that I booked wouldn't have a view, but they graciously upgraded me to a room with a view, and the King Deluxe with a view, from what I saw, would normally go for around 120,000 yen to 170,000 yen, depending on when you're staying. And that's it. Thanks for joining me today. I am so glad that I got to stay here before they renovated, and I will definitely be looking forward to coming back in 2025 and seeing how they update the space.